Hi guys, my name is Harvey and I work as a recruitment consultant. I know how stressful a job interview situation can be, especially if you haven't had too many of them before. So I've been arranging and providing guidance on interviews for the last 2 years now. I'd like to share with you guys some advice on what you can do before an interview and what you can do during it to give you the best chances of landing that job offer. Let's get straight into it. So let's begin with the lead up to the interview. It's all about preparation. The first point I want to address is carrying out research. And this doesn't mean a quick look at the website. It's a thorough deep dive into the business and the role. Have a look into the background of the business, i.e. how they were established and how they've grown to the position they're in now, like how have they grown their brand. Also have a look at their customer base and see what industries they service, especially if they're a business to business organization. Maybe research their competitors operating in a similar industry. It is very common to be asked by an interviewer what you know about the business. This is because they're essentially testing you to see if you've been dedicated and committed enough to do your homework prior to the interview. If you want to increase your chances of securing the role, I also highly recommend that you analyse the job specification or advert given to you prior to the interview. Most notably looking over the criteria and requirements for the role and also the responsibilities within the role. In doing this, you can prepare any examples from your professional experience or your life experience to use as justification for why you feel like you'd be a good fit for the role in the interview. Something that's often overlooked is using resources such as glassdoor.com to study previous reviews from ex-colleagues of the business that you're interviewing at. This will help give you a better understanding of the culture of the business and a little bit more about the responsibilities and what's expected of you in your role. Plus, if you're able to reference positive reviews in the interview, when asked, like, why do you want to work here? That will also help inflate their ego and put you in a better position. Solid research beforehand will show that you are enthusiastic, it will show that you're intuitive, and that you're committed enough to do your homework beforehand. So the next point is all about appearance. It's a very old-fashioned saying, but first impressions still count and they're still very important. I always recommend dressing smart and representing yourself in the best possible light before an interview. Even if it's a remote interview, like a Teams interview or a Zoom interview, I strongly recommend that you still dress well. As well as this, even if the business employs a casual dress benefit, I still recommend turning up very well dressed to the interview and wearing appropriate footwear as well. There is no such thing as being overdressed for an interview. I can't stress that enough. Representing yourself with proper grooming, best hygiene practices, and smart dress will always leave a positive, lasting impression, especially if you're meeting with multiple interviewers. It will also show that you care enough to put that effort in at an early stage. So let's next talk about interview etiquette during the interview. There are a few things that you can be cautious of, such as your body positioning and your eye contact levels. I strongly recommend that you do not fidget. This for me is very difficult. I do fidget quite a lot. I'm quite a sporadic person. I don't like to stay still, but in the interview, if you can sort of rein in it, that's going to be much better. You want to come across as calm and composed, sort of in your element, as opposed to sporadic. Having a slouched demeanor, so kind of like leaning over, like a little bit more casual like that, sort of with like your elbows on your knees. This one's a tough one. It can come across as if you're a bit too relaxed, like you'd rather be somewhere else and you don't sort of hold the position to a high place in your mind, and you think you've just sort of smashed it already. But at the same time, it can signify a level of confidence as well, that you're sure in yourself. So with this one, it's quite circumstantial. I'd sort of read the room and use your judgment on that one. So mirroring is also a very prominent phenomenon. It's a very prominent thing, right? People, and in this case the interviewer, tend to like people a bit more that mirror their tone and their body language as well. It gives like a sense of relatability and kind of just puts away that indifference. I don't mean copy them for everything they do, because that could come across a bit weird, but just maybe adopt your tone to how they're speaking, and maybe sort of mimic their body language as well. So lastly, on physicality, crossing your arms can come across quite standoffish. If you're sort of leaning back quite a bit as well, it can sort of get across that you think you're superior to them. So I'd maybe sort of save that one as well. Maintaining consistent eye contact is also very important. It shows that you're transparent, it shows that there's a level of trust there as well, and it shows that you're sort of really in the moment. It shows that you're infused and quite interested in what you're speaking about. Obviously with this one, you know, again, use your judgment. I wouldn't be staring them out fully because that would be very, very creepy and very uncomfortable. But yeah, just consistently maintain that eye contact as well. That'll put you in a good position. So next one's worded a bit posh, but stick with me. It's all about insinuating longevity. What I mean by this is that your answers need to imply that this is a long-term prospect for you, that you're looking to sort of develop and progress within the business and sort of stick at it. So this tip is very much pointed towards permanent opportunities as opposed to like a temporary contract or a fixed term contract. But it's very, very important. Companies are investing a significant amount of resources, costs, and time to recruiting you and onboarding you into the business. So they don't want someone that's going to bugger off after a few months. They don't want someone who's going to use it as a stopgap. So if you can insinuate and really hit home during the interview that you're there for the long term, that's going to put you in a really good stead. An interviewer may ask you a question like, where do you see yourself in 5 years? So just based on what I was saying, I would align your answer with something like, I'm looking to develop within the business. Hopefully within 5 years, I would have upskilled. I'd have progressed to maybe a supervisory position in the business. I can really see myself developing and progressing in the organisation. So at the end, or perhaps during, the interviewer may ask you if you have any questions. I strongly, strongly recommend that you do ask questions. Be equipped with at least 3 questions, because if you don't, it can leave the interview on quite an abrupt tone. It can show that you're not that interested in the opportunity. And it just shows, if you do ask questions, that you're enthusiastic and you actually have a piece to say as well. You're not just being lectured. So harkening back to when I said about that longevity, you can ask questions along the lines of, what does progression look like in the business? How can I sort of upskill? How can I develop? Would there be scope to receive sort of extra responsibilities if my performance and attendance is there, of course? So questions like these indicate longevity, and they're a nice, easy way of getting across that you're looking to stick around. It also shows that you're a forward thinker. It shows that you're thinking about your own career plan as well, and how you continue to give value to that business in the long term. So please remember that an interview is a two-way street. Obviously, it's centered around the business seeing if you're a good fit for them, for that role, and for the company alongside their culture. But it's very much an opportunity for you as well to see if that business aligns with your morals, if it aligns with your career plan. So please remember that this is a two-way conversation. Does it work for you as well as it works for them? So often people are very nervous sort of at the start of an interview and on the lead up to it. As I said at the start of the video, this is absolutely fine. If you're nervous about your interview, it shows that you care and that you don't want to mess the opportunity up, and an interviewer will be able to see this. I can also assure you, based on the feedback that I've got from hundreds of interviews in the past, those interviews that start off a little bit shaky always sort of steady out as you start to familiarise yourself with the settings, as you start to build up rapport with the interviewer. Those nerves do calm a lot as you progress through the process. So just sort of final thoughts then, to summarise, I think the most important thing is definitely doing research, doing your due diligence, but making sure that you do sort of like a significant amount into the industry area, into the role as well, and sort of how the business was established and their brand. Of course, then we sort of summarise about appearance as well, wanting to make sure that you dress smart, you're wearing appropriate footwear. It's making sure that you are representing yourself in the best light with smart, well sort of kempt appearance, proper grooming, proper hygiene practices, all that stuff. That's going to leave a lasting impression, and that's going to be something very important during the whole process. Just remembering that interview etiquette as well, about sort of how your body is positioned, consistently maintain that eye contact level as well. It's all sort of psychological stuff, all sort of subtle nuances that are going to really add up and give you sort of that best performance in the interview. So longevity is another very vital factor. It's showing that you're going to be there in the long term, you want to progress with them, you want to consistently add value to them over time, and you're not just going to bugger off. Yeah guys, it was just hopefully a video that wasn't too long. Just wanted to give you a bit of advice, as I said, because I know an interview can be quite daunting, but they're just people. it's going to be absolutely fine. You're going to smash it. I know you will. I hope this video has given you some guidance. If you do have any comments, if there's anything else you can add, if you're a seasoned interviewer or a seasoned interviewee, I should say, then please leave them in the comment section below. I'm very new to this stuff, guys, so if you could drop me a subscription, that would be absolutely fantastic. It makes the world of difference. And if this video helps you, please leave a like. It would be massively appreciated. But for that, guys, any other suggestions, what you'd like to see, please leave them in the comments below as well. And I will see you guys in the next one. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.